let's just start there. So that space from interim to permanent
Yes.
seemed like that was a whirlwind.
Absolutely. It was, it, it really, there was so much going on between January and July. We had, significant leadership transition for the organization. And my primary responsibility was to make sure that our staff and our community knew that we had stability at the helm. I didn't want anything to be unsettled or feel unsettled in the schools and in our classrooms. Certainly, there was a little unsettling feeling here at Central Office as we were working to transition the team through a major leadership transition. But we know the magic happens in the classroom, and my number one goal was to protect the energy and the space in the classrooms and our schools, right? So making sure that I was meeting with our principals, meeting with our school-based teams to let them know, stay focused on the work, right? We will figure this out over here, but I really wanted them to know to stay focused, keep their eye on the prize, support our students so that they can have a successful school year.
So let's talk about that. July 1st, you become the permanent, you're the superintendent.
Yes.
And August 23rd, school starts.
Yes.
What do parents need to know? How ready are we going to be?
Well, we're already ready. So as you all know that just a few weeks ago, one of our first schools opened already for the new school year. We have Woodcrest Elementary, which is a year-round program. And so we already launched the new school year with Woodcrest Elementary. The teachers came back and had professional development, and school is up and running. So we already have one school that's already full swing in motion for the new school year. And the team has been working really beginning in the spring, preparing for a smooth and successful school opening for August 23rd, which is the day when all of our traditional year calendar students return to the classroom. So that means hiring, preparing professional development. Today is the second day of our summer PD Institute. So we have over 1,000 educators that are learning right now at the convention center. We have a host of teachers who are leading professional development for their peers. The theme of that PD Institute is intentional practices and remarkable results. So yesterday we kicked off that PD Institute. The energy was amazing. We are certainly excited about that work. So the preparation for the new school year with hiring, professional development, planning, logistics. There's a lot that goes into planning for a smooth school opening for 45,000 students.
So you're calling it the PD Institute, but for our purposes, when I'm talking to viewers, this is teachers teaching teachers.
Absolutely. Teachers teaching teachers. We wanted to make sure that the professional development that we offered this year was really centered around the needs of our educators. And so it made sense to us, who best to provide that PD than teachers themselves.
And are these people from locally from Columbus?
They're our teachers.
Okay.
So there are teachers from Columbus City Schools that have signed up to present a workshop to their colleagues on literacy practices, math practices, social emotional learning, and our equity work. And so we have really top talent within the district, and certainly they have the capacity, the talent, and the skills, and most importantly, the desire to lead professional learning for their peers. So we're really excited about the work that's happening at the Convention Center right now, and really excited about the professional development and the support that will continue through the entire school year.
So one of the things I wanted to ask you about, because I was doing my homework as an educator, I know you'll appreciate that.
Love it.
Science of reading.
Yes.
I thought I read that that's something that you really want to put back into the classrooms.
Absolutely. So as you know, the science of reading certainly is a hot topic around the entire state. That was one of the initiatives or strategies that was in the new budget bill from the governor.
We talked with the governor about it. He loves it.
Yes, absolutely. So as a former elementary teacher myself, I feel very strongly about making sure that our students are prepared with the skills and the resources that they need to be successful. reading and literacy is so important, and it's really a foundational skill for everything that we do in life, let alone in school. And so we really want to make sure that we're preparing our students for success. This is aligned to our early literacy board goal. Board goal number 1, ensuring all of our third graders are reading on grade level. And in order to do that, we've made significant investments in CCS in professional development for elementary teachers. So all of our teachers have been trained in the science of reading. We call it LETTERS, Language Essentials for Teachers. And it really teaches teachers how to teach reading. It teaches teachers how the brain processes sounds, phonemes, so that they can have a very good understanding of why it's appropriate to teach phonics explicitly.
So let me, I hate to interrupt, but I want to break that down so our viewers understand what that means.
Yes.
Because first of all, the name, Science of Reading,
yes,
is almost an oxymoron in my opinion, because science and math, journalists, but can you talk about how that looks in the classroom?
Yes, so to be very clear, the science of reading means that teachers are thinking about literacy, and they're thinking about the way the brain processes sounds, recognizing that students need instruction in phonics, phonemic awareness, how the sounds blend together. They need support in phonics, phonemic awareness, fluency, and comprehension to make sure that they're addressing all components of literacy. So that means the students, when they come to school in as early as kindergarten, they will be not only learning the names of the alphabet, but the names of the letters in the alphabet, but also the sounds that they make, and then learning how to blend those sounds together to make words. That is the foundation of reading, so that students will have those skills no matter what word they come across. They will be able to sound it out. They will have strategies in their toolbox, whether they're using their hands to sound out the words, blending it together. So the students will be equipped with the resources and tools that they need so that they could be successful in sounding out words, building words, making meaning of words and letters, and then leading to comprehension skills. And so it's really important that the teachers provide that instruction very explicitly, so the students master those skills, because as you know, and from grades K through 3, the students are learning to read, and then 3 and beyond, they're reading to learn. And so in order for them to be able to have the necessary skills to tackle more complex text, they have to be able to have the basics, which is the phonics, phonemic awareness, and fluency.
So viewers are going to see this and go, well, that's what we learned back in the day. Education as a whole, high level, kind of moved to something different.
Absolutely. And so when we think about the reading research and reading practices, usually it's a pendulum. And so some of us, when we were in school, your teachers may have taught you phonics, they taught you how to sound out the words, and then in other experience, some other of our students or colleagues may have experienced a different approach where the teachers maybe had a more holistic approach, and when they exposed their students to high quality literature and said that, you know, because the students are interested in this high quality literature, they will see the pictures and then be able to associate them with words. So it's a different way of teaching, but we recognize now that we know so much about how the brain learns and how the brain processes words and sounds. That informs really the science of reading. And so it's based on over 30 years of research. It's not new. Based on over 30 years of research, we now know how to break the code, right? And so some students may have learned how to read using these various practices, and others may have not. We now have a research-based strategies that will ensure that all of our students will break the code and will be more successful as an early learner and early reader, which is key.
And does that speak to the need to kind of adhere to that third grade reading guarantee?
Absolutely. And so we know that we want our students to be on track for literacy in third grade, not because of the third grade reading guarantee, but because that's a moral imperative. We want our students to be the best readers and the best, in order to be the best leaders that they can be in school and in the community. But in order to prepare them for that, it begins early. And truth be told, it begins at birth. Right? So we also know that the brain is forming all kinds of synapses early on, starting when as soon as the child is born. And so exposing that child to read aloud, reading with them, talking with them, singing to them, the nursery rhymes, all of those experiences are critically important to building the students' background knowledge and experiences before they even get to school. And so as a district, we're investing in early intervention for pre-K. CCS is one of the largest providers of early childhood programming. Pre-K, we provide pre-K programming to over 2,000 students across the city. And mostly all of our programs are 4 or 5 star rated. So certainly come see us. If you have a 4-year-old, we are enrolling students right now for pre-K programming across the city. But we also want to ensure that our students have a strong foundation in kindergarten, in first grade, in second grade, to ensure that they are on track to, again, meet the third grade reading guarantee when they get to third grade. Waiting until third grade is too late. Early intervention is key.
So let me ask you, you talked about the PD, this is the last question on this. What do you think makes a good teacher? Because we know your roots are in the classroom.
Absolutely. So I really think there's an art to teaching, right? Number one, we want all of our educators to really be passionate about the work that they are leading. We want them to see our students as their student, right? We want them to see themselves in our students. The passion, this is work, you have to lead and teach from the heart, knowing what our students need and how to be responsive to those needs. But there's also the science of it. We just talked about the science of reading, knowing when and how much to push, knowing when to pull, knowing how much scaffolding our students need, knowing how to differentiate instruction. But at the heart of that, for me, is just really having the passion. We want passionate, compassionate educators in front of all of our students, making sure that they're providing the supports for our students. This is not work to me that we think about AI technology, AI can't take over the classroom, right? Right. We have to have passionate educators in front of our students because their needs are constantly changing and the demands are significant, and we need really high-skilled educators that can pivot and know how to manage the resources of the classrooms and know when to lean in more, when to provide those supports. And so for me, it's really the passion that's most important, and that's what our students need. So teaching from the heart.
And we saw that out of the pandemic and where the kids are now. What do you think people should know about helping kids kind of catch up? Because across the board, New York Times did a lot of articles on the fact that kids kind of fell behind when they were learning from home.
Absolutely. So as a country, we are still certainly recovering from the learning loss that we experienced during the pandemic. As you know, the pandemic disrupted so much for us. It disrupted our routines, it disrupted our relationships, our social interactions, as well as academic learning for our students. And we also saw that our most vulnerable students saw even more significant disruptions. So what we're learning is that post-pandemic, we have to be really, really intentional about strengthening those relationships again. Some of our students experience so much time outside of the classroom, that disruption, disconnected. They're actually having anxiety about being around their peer group because they missed out on so many of those interactions. And so one of the ways that we're working on building up our students' stamina in that area, that regard, is strengthening social emotional learning skills. So we want all of our students to know how to regulate their emotions, how to be self-aware, to recognize how you're feeling, and knowing when and how to ask for help. Another strategy that we are implementing this year that we've continued to work on is restorative practices. This is again, a research-based strategy that helps build and strengthen relationships in the classroom, not only between the students, between students and adults. And the training for restorative practices, we participate in this training over the summer, some of our senior leaders, because this is work that we're even engaging in with our central office leaders.
Okay.
We can all engage in more restorative ways to manage and support our relationships and our interactions. And this year we also have a student-led restorative practices pilot in a few of our high schools where our students are leading these restorative circles and this restorative work and in their schools and in their classrooms. But it really gives the students the power and the autonomy to, again, help manage these relationships, manage conflict, and resolve it amicably. And that's what we want for our students. That's what we want for our community, right? I would love to be able to walk into Walmart one day and see a disagreement, and then, a student saying, we can talk about this. There was harm that was done. Now let's talk about how we can restore that harm, right? That's the end goal. We're teaching students skills so they can not only be successful in school, but they can also be successful in life and in the community.
And then can you talk about, I understand you're talking about teachers. We just had a story on about how fewer people are going into education.
Yes.
And recruiting is so hard. So can you give us an idea of where do you have enough teachers?
Yes. So earlier this week, we kicked off our new educator orientation where we had over 300 educators that have chosen CCS, have chosen to join our amazing team. They serve in a variety of roles, so not only just classroom roles, but our recruitment efforts are still underway. We're still recruiting. In addition to the new educators that we have recruited, we also have daily subs as well as building subs. I think we have about 200 building subs and maybe 300 day subs that will be available to help us cover for vacancies as they arise during the school year. And then we've also started Grow Your Own programs. So we have a partnership with Capital University and Columbus State Community College, where we are helping current educators who maybe have not necessarily done all of the paperwork or the coursework to become a fully certified teacher, but we're helping them fast track their program and this program to support them with becoming certified. So this will support, like perhaps you're an IA or you're working in a number of different roles in the school district and you want to become a teacher. Through this program, you can stay on with us in your current role and earn the necessary credits or certifications so that you can become a teacher. So we recognize that now more than ever, we have to invest in our current pipeline and help prepare them for roles as an educator or certificated positions. So the pipeline work is going to be even more critical now than it has been before, given the national teacher shortage and really just the data and statistics that folks are choosing other programs now and not going into education in college. For me, going to school to become a teacher was always my number one choice. I knew as early as elementary school that I wanted to be a teacher, and there was really no other choice for me. And so I hope that we can restore some of that passion in our current high school students so that they can see that teaching is a profession that they will choose to pursue, and then we certainly can help them along on that journey and make sure that they know what their options are for that pathway.
I wanted to ask you about, getting ready for school for families. We know that everybody's socioeconomic situation is, what it is. What's going to be done to help kids who coming back to school? I don't have the basic supplies to give to my child to go to school. Do you have any
If
events?
any parent is feeling as if they're not sure that they have the resources to prepare their child for school opening, I want them to know we got their back. Come see us on Saturday, August 19th for our back to school resource fair at Fort Hays from 10 to 2. We will have a number of community agencies there that will be providing resources. We know that Franklin County will be there, all of the resources that they provide, and numerous agencies will be there to provide our families with support. We will be giving out free backpacks with school supplies. Charity Newsies has options for families if they need, if students need clothing for the new school year. But we want our families to know we got your back. All of our families can go to our Back to School Hub on the website to find out about more information about everything back to school. It's a one-stop shop. But more importantly, we want to see them, we want to touch them, we want to connect with them. And so Saturday, August 19th, our Back to School Resource Fair, we will be there with all of the resources within the community to really show our community that we are with them and we're ready to help them transition to back to school.
How do you think your role in the district prepared you to be superintendent of the largest school district in the state?
So, number one, I talked about one of the things that I think is most important in the classroom. It's passion, and I would say it's the same for me. Tracy, I am unapologetic about advocating for the needs and the resources for the 45,000 students that we serve here in Columbus City Schools, right? That is my passion, right? I am here for our students and our families, and that there's nothing that can change that, no matter what role or seat I am in. And certainly, I think that my previous experience in the district for the last 4 years has really helped me to understand the needs of the organization and where we are strong and where there are opportunities for improvement. And so it was really the best homework assignment, really, right? So it was the best opportunity for me to be even more prepared for this assignment.